So the first of the 3 60th anniversary Doctor Who specials, The Star Beast, just released. And wow! Quick disclaimer, just so you know what kind of video you're getting into, I liked it. I really liked it. It was really good. So in this video, I wanted to, give my personal thoughts on the episode as a whole. And also, I wanted to address some of the response to this episode, because I have seen quite a lot of criticism of this episode, and not all of it in good faith. The episode begins with a quick little recap on the events of Series 4, and basically establishing the backstory. And that's fine. I like that they did this. It makes sense. It has been 15 years since the Doctor and Donna's storyline ended. A lot of people will need a recap, and that's fair enough. And then we get into the opening titles. Oh my days. What do I even say? I was genuinely just completely blown away by this. Look at it. It looks so good. Why does it look so good? As for the new theme music itself, I know a lot of people weren't really a big fan of when it was played at the 60th musical celebration. Personally, I thought it was kind of okay then. But yeah, the final version that they're actually using is so much better. If you remember the opening title themes from the Eccleston and Tennant eras, that was also really bombastic and cinematic. I hear that theme music, and it gives me the vibe of watching a new episode of Doctor Who on a Saturday night in the late 2000s, and this music telling you, this is going to be the highlight of your week. And that's something I feel like the other theme musics in the years since haven't really replicated. The Matt Smith era opening titles didn't really have that same standoutishness to me. I'm sure that's a word. The Peter Capaldi theme, I'm not criticizing at all. I also love that theme. Probably more than the Eccleston and Tennant theme. That one doesn't have the orchestral cinematic standoutishness as the Eccleston and Tennant theme, but that's okay because the Capaldi theme is good in its own way. And yeah, the Jodie Whittaker theme is alright, but I pretty much have the same opinion on that as I do on the Smith era theme. But my god, the latest theme. The bit when the piano kicks in, my ears just ascend. Okay, I've gushed about the theme music for long enough. I love how the episode just jumps right into the action. No messing around, it's just the Doctor lands on Earth, he sees someone struggling with a bunch of boxes, he goes to, oh my god, it's Donna! So yeah, the Doctor and Donna are pretty much immediately reunited, and then...
Rose! What? Rose!
What?
Rose!
Rose! What? Rose! What? Oh my god.
I just found this bit really funny. Anyway, then we're introduced to Donna's daughter, Rose, played by Yasmin Finney, mainly known for her role as Elle in Heartstopper, which she did a brilliant job in, by the way. And then, of course, as a classic throwback, Donna completely misses the aliens once again, as a spaceship comes crashing down into the atmosphere and Donna completely misses it. I also loved how we actually got to see a lot more of Sean Temple. He didn't really have that much of a role in The End of Time, but he really gets a chance to shine in this episode, and I hope we see more of him in the upcoming specials. Anyway, another good thing we get to see is the Doctor using his new sonic screwdriver and getting screens up and being able to use it as a shield. This is just really cool. The sonic's usually portrayed as a sort of all-around instrument that can do all sorts of things, but we never really see much outside of the Doctor just scanning things or unlocking doors. So stuff like it opening a screen and being able to create a shield with it is stuff I'm surprised hasn't happened earlier, but I really like it. Also, the shield that the Sonic can create would be a bit of a concern, because it could just be a little overpowered, but as we saw, it takes time to create a shield and it doesn't last very long. So I honestly doubt we'll see the Doctor using this constantly to get out of any kind of danger. We also see UNIT's new scientific advisor, Shirley Ann Bingham, played by Ruth Madeley. I do wonder what happened to Osgood. Maybe we'll find out in the future. Anyway, I'm gonna be honest, I really like Shirley as a character so far. I mean, come on. She has explosives in her wheelchair. How is that not just badass as hell? But yeah, Ruth Madeley does a great job as this character, and I really hope we get to see more of her in the future. We see Rose dealing with quite a bit of transphobia from presumably people from her school. See, something this episode does that for the most part I like is that it, tackles the fact that trans people exist and the fact that a trans character is one of the main characters in this episode. And I feel like it does that really well. Unfortunately, trans people do face abuse and harassment in public. The fact that they call Rose her dead name, I guess that makes sense. That is probably something, bullies would do. But it wouldn't surprise me if a bunch of transphobes who are triggered by this episode are gonna weaponize the fact that we know Rose's dead name. Because that's just how these people are. They're incredibly predictable. I haven't watched Boltrek's review of the episode because, I have at least some level of self-respect. But it wouldn't surprise me if he does exactly that. But I feel like, Rose's whole being trans is portrayed pretty well in this episode. And with her family and the way they react to it. Donna and Sean are just really supportive. Sylvia does her best and wants to be supportive, but isn't sure if she's doing everything right. Which feels like a very realistic and understandable thing for someone from the older generation to worry about. And I'm glad they incorporated that. And I think they do it really well. It's not too on the nose. It feels natural. The whole I'm not so easily offended crowd will get easily offended by it regardless. But I like how it's done here. And I just realized we haven't even touched on the meep yet. My god, the meep. The Meep is voiced by the absolutely fantastic Miriam Margolyes. She does a brilliant job as the Meep. Like, I found myself watching the episode, even though I know about the comic that this episode is based on, and I know what happens. I genuinely still found myself being led into a false sense of security and thinking, oh, the Meep isn't so bad. It's kind of cute. And that's largely due to the brilliant voice work by Miriam. Then we see some unit soldiers going up some stairs to the Meep shuttlecraft. They open the door and... Wait. Haven't I seen this before? Oh no. Yeah, I can't be the only one who saw the whole Meep mist thing and was ever so slightly reminded of a certain Torchwood episode. Right? Please tell me I'm not alone in this, please. Anyway, then Donna discovers the Meep. This whole bit is just so chaotic and really funny. Something I love about this episode is just how it feels so lighthearted and silly. I have no doubt this is just to lead us into a false sense of security, so then the following 2 episodes will hit us very hard emotionally. But I still enjoyed the whole vibe this episode gave off. Oh yeah, there's also that bit where the Doctor asks for the Meep's pronouns. A lot of people took issue with this scene, because of course they did. I like it. I mean, it's a fair question to ask. You know, the Meep might be a homicidal psychopath, guilty of all these war crimes. That doesn't mean you get to disrespect the Meep's identity. So the whole gang go up to the attic. There's a brilliant reference to the Doctor dances, and the Doctor just starts breaking walls. And they all just crawl through other people's attics to get to Sean's car. They all manage to get away, but the Doctor's been picking up some hints, and something doesn't quite seem right. So in a fantastic bit that was in the original comic, the Doctor puts on a judge's wig, I forgot the name of it, and then the Doctor holds a court session between the Roth warriors and the Meep. Then the Meep knows the gig is up and just goes full-on ballistic. Then during a ride in the back of a van to the Meep's headquarters, it really seems like Donna's memory of the Doctor is slowly but surely bleeding through, which is brilliant to see, but at the same time, very concerning, because we know what will happen if she fully remembers. Then Donna has some sort of subconscious instinct kick in and decides to abandon her family and go and help out the Doctor. Then the Doctor tries to stop the Meep's machine from excavating the whole of London and turning it into rocket fuel. And this scene kind of reminds me of Partners in Crime. Like, the Doctor's trying to stop an evil alien plan. He doesn't have the resources to do it. And then we see why the Doctor and Donna need each other and why they're such a good duo. But this time, it's a lot more tragic. The only way the Doctor can stop the Meep and save the whole of London is by reawakening Donna's memory of him. This bit feels like a bit of a mashup between Partners in Crime and The End of Time, and it's really good. Even though I knew Donna was most likely going to survive because we already knew she had a role in the other specials, it was still quite nerve-wracking to watch. But when Donna becomes the Dr. Donna again, her first reaction is to have a go at the Doctor, because she gave away all her winning lottery money to be like him. I love it. Donna's just the best. Anyway, they stop the Meep, but it seems like Donna is about to die. But then, turns out Donna passed down the Metacrisis to Rose, and thus the Metacrisis is shared between them, meaning they can both survive a lot longer. And you know what? That's a clever twist. I like it. I wouldn't have thought of it. So then the Meep is stopped, gives some cryptic foreshadowing, and then we see easily the most divisive scene of the entire episode. And I kinda get why. Honestly, I kinda don't mind the scene of Donna and Rose just being able to let the Metacrisis go, but I don't really see the point of the male presenting line. Like, all they could have said was, you know, something a Time Lord would never understand. And like, because they're part Time Lord, part human, and they're linked mentally, they're able to just let the Metacrisis go. Like, that would have sufficed, honestly. The whole binary and non-binary thing, while it's a nice link and a good reference, I'm not too sure what Russell was going for here. Like, is he trying to say that Rose is non-binary? Because that was never really hinted to throughout the episode. It was always conveyed that she was a binary trans woman. I mean, they do kind of explain it as the Doctor and Donna being only 2 people, but Rose being a third person with the Metacrisis does make things fall outside the binary. Like, yeah, I can kind of see that, but I feel like it could have been explained or showed a bit better. And maybe it will get expanded on in a future episode, but I don't know. It doesn't ruin the episode for me by any means. I'm just a bit confused by it, and I'm not quite sure how to interpret it. Anyway, then the Doctor and Donna decide to go off and see Wilf, who's still alive and being looked after by Kate Stewart. I love that, you know. I can't wait to see Bernard Cribbins in the upcoming specials. Rest in peace, absolute legend. Then we also get to see the new TARDIS interior. And I know, once again, opinions are kind of mixed on it. A common criticism is it feels kind of empty, and I get that. But I don't know, I kind of like it. You know, it feels like a mix between like a classic Who TARDIS, mixed with the 9th and 10th Doctor's TARDIS. And it kind of works. It's got like a nice sleek, futuristic vibe. Maybe there could be a little more to it, but overall I think it looks really impressive, and the whole scene of the Doctor running around the TARDIS just completely sells it for me, honestly. Anyway, then Donna spills, was it tea or coffee? I can't remember. And the TARDIS goes flying off. Was this just a coincidence? I don't know, maybe we'll find out. And then the episode ends. And yeah, as I said, I really like it. It does feel like a massive return to form after the somewhat middling Chibnall era. And it really does remind me of how the show used to be, but it also feels new at the same time. It feels fresh and different in a bunch of ways. And I really like that. You know, obviously the show's got to change. That's how it's survived so long. And I can't wait to see where it goes in the future. My main criticisms are that the episode feels a little too fast-paced, just a little bit. I feel like there are some things which could have been given a bit more room to breathe. And there were some dialogue lines which felt somewhat out of place and a bit random. But yeah, overall, I really liked it. Which is something that can't be said for a lot of people. Yeah, see that smooth segue? So yeah, as I said, I also want to tackle some of the criticism I saw of this episode. Because, you know, some people have had meltdowns because the episode is too woke. Which, you know, I did see coming. But honestly, if you're complaining that the show is too woke now, you either lacked the media literacy to understand that the show has always been woke, or you only pay attention to the messaging and the subtext when you want to. Like, I've seen a surprising amount of people saying, oh, the show is too woke now. I liked it back in the Capaldi era. Like, would that by any chance be the same Peter Capaldi era that had a bisexual companion, a lesbian companion, the Doctor punching a racist, an episode explicitly about capitalism and how corrupt it is, a pro-environment episode, an anti-war episode that's also about the immigration crisis, and an episode where the Doctor just explicitly states that Time Lords have a flexible and not so stereotypical view on gender? Would that be the Capaldi era you're talking about? Yeah, nothing woke about that. No messages being pushed there at all. Am I right? I don't know about you guys, but I miss 60s Who, when David Tennant was battling the space allegory of the villains of World War II. Yeah, there were no messages being pushed back then. By these people's own standards, the show has always been woke. Like, it was made by a gay man and a Jewish woman, and the first episode was directed by an Indian man, and the show itself is about an asexual, gender-fluid alien who can change their appearance, including their gender and race at any time, and is notoriously anti-capitalist, anti-authoritarian, always speaking up for the downtrodden. Like, how is that not just fundamentally woke to you? So if any of those things I listed are too woke for you, then perhaps this show just isn't for you. And you just lacked the basic media literacy to understand that. I mean, these people can't even define what woke means. It's just anything they don't like or understand. So if you're having a mental breakdown on Twitter over a couple lines in this episode that are beyond your frame of reference, get a grip. Like, just get a hobby, mate. But yeah, wow, this became way more of a rant than I was expecting. But I hope I got the message across. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Looking forward to the next specials. And yeah,